Question: would you rather face eternal damnation, wrought with pain and agony, or have your soul shredded and become nothing but utter oblivion? It seems like an unfair question, and most would say so. There is, however, an alternative. Not a pleasant one, mind you, but an alternative nonetheless. This is the sad tale of Lord Thoreau. In the western lands of Aetherium lay the human territories and the keep of St. Uldur. It is the last bastion that separates the human and the abyss, a dark scourge from long ago now released from their hellish prison. During Midsummer's Eve, when the moon shimmered with silvery light, the abyss invaded from the eastern lands. Lord Thoreau and his men held off the incursion for several days and nights, but the abyss were relentless. On the first night of the assault, Lord Thoreau feverishly inked a letter and sealed it with wax, and handed the message off to his most trusted courier. The following morning, the courier's head sat upon a pike, with the note lodged deep into his throat. Later that day, Lord Thoreau went to the owlery, where he attached a letter to every raven and owl at his disposal. They were all sent to the royal capital and addressed to Lord Dragos, Cardinal Lawson, and Benvaldi, the Master of Swords and highest-ranking general in Lord Friedrich's army. He begged for reinforcements and aid, but aid never came. They held out for several days, but after nearly a week the fort was overrun and the lower soldiers fled, but Lord Thoreau held his ground as the last remaining soldier. The abyssal Lord Tharduk, leader of the abyss, took him into custody and made Lord Thoreau watch as they razed the once magnificent stronghold and left nothing but cursed, scorched earth. The abyss threw Lord Thoreau into a cage and brought him to the abyssal capital of Nakthul. Each day they would ask him a simple question: the Nexus or us? He feared what they would do, but he didn't say anything. He clutched a cross and muttered a prayer while not answering, despite the taunts from the abyss that they would feed his soul to Tharkson, the soul devourer. Still, Lord Thoreau held firm his faith that Cardinal Lawson would come and send aid, even though the keep of St. Uldur lay in rubble. He still held out hope. After a week of starvation, again no aid came. Brought to the brink of starvation, Lord Tharduk asked him one final time, the Nexus or us, and again Lord Thoreau did not answer, so Tharduk answered for him, and dragged him to the center of town, and Tharduk stood Lord Thoreau up at the swirling edge of the Nexus, where all abyss crawl forth from. He looked at Lord Thoreau, who seemed to accept his fate, and kicked him in. It would appear that damnation was the choice made for Lord Thoreau, but on that day he chose another path, and a third option presented itself. Mustering up his last bit of strength, Lord Thoreau held on to the edge of the rift. Torment and anguish suffused around him as the dark energies of the void pulled at his flesh, stripping him of his humanity. Time slipped by as anguish racked his body for what felt like a lifetime, and even though the torment continued, Lord Thoreau held on to the belief that someone would come and save him, and for a third time, nobody came. Blood ran from his arms and dripped into his eyes, blinding him as crows circled overhead. Losing his consciousness and his ability to hold on to two mangled fingers, Lord Thoreau's hand slipped. It was at this moment, when despair gave way to hope, a looming figure leaned in and scooped Thoreau from the brink of oblivion like a parent picking up a child from a crib. As the figure laid him on the ground, Thoreau felt new, reborn, saved. "Rise," the looming figure said, and with fluttering eyes Thoreau gazed up at his savior to be none other than Lord Tharduk himself. "Rise," Tharduk said, "and be one of us. Your will has made you into something greater than you could have ever possibly imagined." Thoreau looked at himself in horror for the first time, then in delight. His arm was stunted and mangled into a hand with two long razor claws. His torso and left half rivaled any of the juggernauts or the golems of the elves. And his power, oh, his power was beyond measure. He could hurl any object with the greatest of ease, and in distances that only a telescope could see its trajectory. That strength came with a price, however, for his mobility was significantly reduced, and he would need assistance traversing great distances. He thought he would hate Tharduk for saving him, but he gazed up upon the chest and found his answer, his purpose. The large metal cross given to all lieutenants in the human army melted away and charred into his flesh. His hope kept him alive, but it was also his weakness. He lived for an army that chose not to help him when he needed it the most. He would do everything in his power to make them feel the torment and the suffering he endured. He would do everything to make them endure it tenfold. He trained with Lord Tharduke, and when he was ready, Thoreau, along with the shamans of the void, made many lesser versions of himself. Still brutishly strong but practically immobile, still they could launch any object, any trebuchet, catapult, or ballista that the humans, elves, and necromancers could craft. The lieutenants pondered names for their new creation, but only one name stuck: Flings. And we're finished. Let me know what you think. It's been a while since I've done a pen and ink drawing this scale and this size for quite a while. I love this creature. I've thought about him for quite a while. So thank you all for watching. If you love the content, please hit that like and subscribe button. Also hit that notification bell to keep updated on all new videos. Also, I have a website, James Kirsch Writes, and the link to my book on Amazon will be in the description. Thank you all again for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.